You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button.
Back from Legends in Manhattan, right in the shadow of the Empire State Building. Not many blocks from here, just about 20 blocks or so north. Tomorrow, Jayden Daniels, we are all expecting to be crowned the Heisman Trophy winner, and a guy who has played a big part in his development as LSU quarterbacks coach Joe Sloan is good enough to spend a couple of minutes with us here. Joe, it's great to have you, man. Thanks so much for the time. How are you?
Doing great, Matt. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. Look, I mean, you're obviously still a relatively young coach, right? I mean, did you at any point in your career have this as a goal, like to be able to tutor a Heisman Trophy winner? Like, is that something you even consider?
You know, I mean, obviously, reflecting on it here recently, it's really special. Talking to different friends of mine who either are in the coaching profession or, close family friends or whatever that follow football and understand kind of what this is all about. It definitely reminds you that it's a pretty unique situation and pretty special situation. I don't know that I would say like, ooh, I had this goal. I think probably usually my goal is to make the players that are under my charge the absolute best that they can be. Well, at LSU and having a quarterback at LSU like Jayden Daniels, and you make it, you help guide him and watch him be the absolute best he could be, and these are the kind of things that follow.
Hey, go back, if you would, to Jayden's recruitment. I guess you were hired in January of 22. He committed to LSU, I guess about 3 months later, thereabouts. Do you remember the conversations you had with him while he was in the portal leaving Arizona State and what that was like trying to get him to Baton Rouge?
Yeah, I mean, some of them. I mean, he had a ton of interest in LSU because he saw, obviously he had played a lot of college football, and Jayden's a football guy, football junkie. He understood what LSU was all about, and I think he was interested in the opportunity to come compete here because he knew what type of players he would be around, and he knew what type of environment and what it would be like on a daily basis. And I think that's kind of what attracted him to this place. And we just told him what type of system we were going to run, based on what Coach Denbrock had done in the past and what we felt like we were going to do here in the future and what Coach Kelly was going to do with the program and how things were going to be on a day-to-day basis and how we would coach them. And then the opportunity to come in and compete. And he saw that. And I think it was a pretty clear decision for him at that time. I don't know that it was an easy decision, but I think it was a clear decision.
Joe Sloan is with us. I'm leading you somewhere, but I'm curious if you have any first impressions of what struck you about Jayden Daniels, both the person and the player. Let's start with the player. Like when you first saw him, what struck you about Jayden the player?
I would say, as a player, I think he's an extremely well-rounded player and thoughtful player. He definitely is. He has a great mental side to his game, and I think but obviously the easy answer is obviously his excitement and explosiveness and his ability to be dynamic, right? But I definitely think it's pretty. You could see pretty quickly. That he's a pretty well-rounded player. I mean, I think definitely probably his feet and how quick and well he moved in the pocket. Not running, talking about just his footwork and being on time, getting the ball out on time. So definitely some of those things that kind of struck me early.
What about the person? Well,
I think, and it's obviously said a lot, and I've said it a few times, but he's definitely calm and collected. He isn't fazed by different things in big moments, and I think you see that just when you meet him. when he gives off first impressions, you definitely can see that. And I think that was definitely evident early.
Joe Sloan is with us. So the reason I asked it is one of the, I guess, and this isn't, I don't want to say a criticism, that sounds like a negative, but one of the things that Jayden even himself acknowledged that he wanted to work on was accuracy. And I remember vividly going out to fall camp last year before the 22 season, and I remember you working with the quarterbacks on these, what appeared to me anyway, like really odd accuracy drills, like trying to hit the upright on the goalpost or the crossbar, or you'd have like a basket set up in the corner of the end zone. It was just target practice. Like, how much of, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about, but it was clearly intentional. And how much progression have you seen as far as that accuracy, which is, I believe, the thing that probably catapulted Jayden to his elite levels this year?
Yeah, I think playing quarterback is, and for him, and kind of the piece of playing quarterback that you're specifically talking about, is being able, one, you have to be able to just make the throws on command, right? Like, if everything's clean in the pocket, can I throw this 10-yard out route? Can I throw this fade from the 15 to the field corner? Can I throw this fade from the 8 to the boundary corner? Can I throw this, whatever that might be, right? You have to be able to make those, what I call spot throws on command, right? So you have to be able to throw to that spot. Then you add in moving targets, you add in reads, you add in pocket movement. Well, a lot of that also is thought process and being on time within the play, based on what the defense does to you, right? So you have to take the combination of understanding what you're being asked to do in your assignment, right, and what the defense is telling you where the ball needs to go, and now you have to be accurate just on the exact spot throw at the right time. I hope that kind of explains it all. It's like to me, they all three have to fit together, right? And that's what I think he worked so hard on. Probably this off season, I think he was extremely intentional, and I think this was with the help of our staff, and in setting up a plan to be very intentional about all those things and letting those things come together throughout his work. If you try to work on everything at once, right, that doesn't work, right? You have to be thoughtful and intentional about your work, and I think that's what he did. And he was really focused in the moment. Hey, if I'm out throwing, I'm gonna work on X, Y, and Z. And when I'm in the meeting room, I'm gonna work on A, B, C, and then I'm gonna combine those two mentally in my head and put myself in those situations. And I think that prepared him for spring ball, and you saw the improvement there, and then it kind of kept on going.
Joe, when did you think what's going to happen this week? We're all assuming, right, that this is going to happen tomorrow. When did you really start to think or believe, like, yeah, this is going to happen? Jayden's going to win the Heisman.
I would say, one, going into the season, I obviously felt like the preparation he had was showing up in practice. And if it showed up on Saturdays, if his practice, the way he was practicing, showed up on Saturdays, then I knew he would have a legit shot to be one of the best players in the country. I'm trying to think, as you go through some of the games, was there like a certain game? I don't know, maybe after the Auburn game, because I think we got to, you get after the Auburn game, and that was kind of near the bye week, and you knew he had gotten through the, a little over halfway the part of the season, and it played extremely well consistently. Really every game. I mean, I know there were a couple things at the beginning of the year would have loved to adjust, but really played pretty consistently throughout that time. So I think at that point, I knew he had put himself in a great position. And then obviously coming off the field after the Florida game.
Yeah.
And it's kind of unique. And really last year, the Florida game is what kind of catapulted his second half. And this year, the Florida game is really what kind of catapulted his Heisman Trophy chances.
is Joe Sloan, LSU quarterbacks coach. Obviously had a big hand in Jayden Daniels' development, and excited to see what the future is going to hold for Garrett Nussmeier and whatever may come at the LSU quarterback position. But pat yourself on the back, man. You're coming up to New York tomorrow, yes?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I would assume this will be your first time at the Heisman presentation?
You're assuming correctly, Matt.
I mean, Joe, you know there's only going to be like 100 people in the room. Like it's a crazy small deal, man. So I think
and they invited me. How about that? Huh?
No, like trust me, you're well deserving of being in there. Schmucks like me have to stand on the outside and watch on a TV somewhere, which is perfectly fine. I'm thrilled to be here, man. But hey, we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Safe travels and congrats. I believe you and many others played a giant part in this and deserve congratulations and all that's been accomplished, man.
I think there's definitely so many people. Obviously credit to Coach Kelly and what he's doing here at LSU and just the structure that he lays out. And Mike Denbrock and what he's done with our offense. And I think you look at his history when he's in charge of offenses and calling offenses, what quarterbacks can do in those positions. And I think there's so many other people in the building, who help in terms of there's countless names. But when ultimately when it comes down to, we can set a plan, we can coach, we can instruct, we can help be a mirror for these guys, and tell them what they need to improve on. But ultimately, the credit definitely goes to the hard work that Jayden put in, the leadership that he showed, the hard work he put in with his teammates. And then, to be resilient and be consistent with his process week in and week out and to show up and play the way that he did consistently and with the schedule that we have and in this conference, I just think speaks volumes to him. And I couldn't be more proud, and he deserves everything that he has coming to him.
Well said. Joe Sloan, LSU quarterbacks coach. Hey, man, we appreciate you so much for taking a couple of minutes. I'll see you tomorrow, okay?
Thanks, Matt.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.